just get out of here. Take a little flight. Get lost in love. Let's go. Ma, it's no problem to hold you, tongue stroke you, please you like I'm supposed to. Touch spots that ain't ever been touched, and I won't stop till both these squirrels get their nuts. Hey, you know it's good when we freakin', king size squeaking after I ease in. If you was with me, baby, 24/7, best believe that every single day would be a sweet day. Girl, you sweeter than a cheesecake. If you want beef, prophecy would be a beefcake. I make love to you till you fall asleep, leave you with sweet dreams between the sheets.
This was the night before that night. I was born on that day, but not last night. Once upon a time, I had my cash right. Plug called, he ain't act right. I'm far from a slow nigga in this fast life. He pulled up, I got low, hit the black light. Once upon a time, slimy niggas catch a bad night. When bad police die, they don't deserve bagpipes. Once upon a time, they need to feel what God raps like. Old soul, so folks feel me like a pack.
What's good, everybody? It's your man Big Dom coming live at you on the TruPlayaz podcast episode as we embark on the official 4th year anniversary episode of the TruPlayaz podcast, along with my brother JoeyG. We should have the other guests join us a little later in the podcast. So JoeyG, let's get it, man. What's going on, man?
You already know what it is. I'm just ready for this recap. I'm ready for the recap, talking about what's coming up in the future, introducing you to new co-hosts, speaking with guest hosts. What do I have for you? But more commentary and more good moments to share with y'all, with the family, drinking my beer. Because it's an extension of Beer Convo and Family. Just want you to know that. Check that out your local time.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. He just dropped his first official episode, audio only, on Spreaker. Definitely check out that first episode. It was very, very deep, very uplifting to know that, someone who I've been friends with over 30 years, what I'm saying, been through the struggles,
right, been
through tribulations,
right,
misunderstandings, to triumph to be a great husband, a great father. You know what I'm saying? It takes a lot. He's only getting better. And what makes it happen is for people who want to change, who live a life that is full of question marks, is be able to look at yourself in the mirror and understanding what are you doing wrong.
Right.
Be able to understand it and point the finger at yourself.
Right. And
realize that you got to do better. If you want to be better, you got to do better. All right. So before we get started with the podcast, because the podcast is about a great subject, entrepreneurship and branding. And me and JoeyG, we're supposed to have Marz with us, but due to some conflict, he may not be with us today.
Okay.
So we'll see what happens. I was trying to hope to have some more people on the podcast as well. We definitely want Prophecy to come on and join us. We'll see what happens. But before we start off, I want to give out a big rest in peace to Bill Russell, Boston Celtic Hall of Fame center, 11-time world champion who passed away yesterday at the age of 88. For what I've seen seen of him in the All-Star game, he seemed to be a very great and gentle man, genuine individual, in which a lot of NBA players looked up to. Magic Johnson called him his idol. You know what I'm saying? So Dwayne Wade, he posted a tweet about Bill Russell. But for the NBA community, a big loss happened yesterday. 11-time world champion. Won 8 straight world championships with the Boston Celtics. You know what I'm saying? Arguably one of the greatest players in the history of the NBA. And he also won 2 championships as a player coach.
Oh,
yes. So we want to wish past condolences to the Russell family. Prayers. He lived a long and blessed life. And to the end, he seemed like he was in good spirits, but we don't know what happened. And to be honest with you, it's none of our business either. God called him home, so he went home to God. We put it like that. All right. So let's get to it. Entrepreneurship, branding. What question, bro? Why did we become podcasters? Why did we embark on our own entrepreneurship on other things such as financial education and yourself with t-shirts with the Etsy? Why did we do that? And that's the key ingredient
Mm-hmm.
to become an entrepreneur
Right.
is your why. What is your why?
Well, if I had to define it all out, to
Mhm.
be honest with you, I don't like living paycheck to paycheck with somebody else in control of giving me said money earned. I like to get paid for my service rendered. I don't need the middleman to do that for me while you take a percentage and divvy out the rest to myself.
Right.
Lower percentage. We're talking lower percentages as far as the paycheck is concerned, and I want a little bit more for what I put out there. So, yeah, that was the venture. The venture was to get um, a form of income that was substantial and that could sustain the household, or add to what was bringing in the household. So that's where we were at as far as that's concerned. It just gives you a little bit more financial freedom to do what you want to do. Utilizing the podcasts, and being co-hosts and things like that, and talking on other people, you get a chance to network and talk about these things, only adding to what you're trying to do.
Got you. Got you. Well said, bro. And I tell you from my own experience, you understand what I'm saying? Me working in the hospital for 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And you spoke of it offline,
Mm-hmm.
and I felt that a lot of people that I answered to had no business of me answering to them. You know, I just felt that it was a clash, not just a clash of ego, it was a clash of pigmentation too, because when you sit there and you do your job, and people still accuse you of not doing your job, and then when you tell them, when you defend yourself, they say you're a bully. They're scared of you
Right.
because you're defending yourself.
Right.
That for me, that's the reason why I embarked on an entrepreneurship first with the podcast and then with my financial education business.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and these two things intertwine with each other because I could always leverage my podcast to promote my financial education business, which I will be doing more this season of the TruPlayaz podcast.
Right.
So I feel that a lot of people need to be educated about their finances. People don't realize that 78% of the people live in paycheck to paycheck.
Or just continue their education in financial education, because we can't sit there and say that we know everything. Just because
No.
we have a piece of information doesn't mean we know everything about everything.
Right.
So being a student, a tentative student, and being able to get this information, that's first and foremost. If you're able to spread that information by teaching somebody else, yes, by all means do that. But have all the information that you need to tell somebody else, and do not mislead them with partial information, because that could be dangerous as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's where we go into branding. That's part of your branding. You got to
Mhm.
be transparent. You got to be honest with your clients. You got to be honest with everything. Be transparent all the time because that affects your branding.
Yes, it does.
So you got to understand that it goes with the territory. You know what I'm saying? But us as financial educators, we're still learning as we go along as well because there's always new things to learn,
Right.
new things to achieve. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? So like I said, I'm going back to the hospital analogy. I worked there for 12 years due to a certain illegal law, I call it.
Mhm.
I was forced to leave, but I tell you, leaving there was probably the biggest relief I ever had in my life because I was in a very toxic environment.
Mhm.
Again, I was answering to people who subliminally did not like me because of my skin color or what have you, or my quote unquote attitude.
Right.
One thing about me is if you say something stupid, you come at me the wrong way, I'm going to defend myself. Now,
Right.
if you perceive it and receive it as if I'm bullying you, that's something that's you got to deal with.
Right.
Don't start shit with me. There won't be no shit with me.
Right.
Don't be email gangster typing to the freaking manager that Dominic cursed me out or some shit. Well, I just told you Actually, what you did was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna sit there and keep my mouth shut about things like that. And when they talk about that mandate, I was not gonna take that injection to stay there.
Right.
I was already my ass, my everything in my body was out of that hospital. Everything in my soul was out of that hospital a long time ago.
Right.
Just my body was there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And you deal with some, I hate toxicity. And that's where you have being an entrepreneur, you be able to build your own team with genuine people, with
Mm-hmm.
good people with good hearts, or it all for one and one for all. And that's the mentality. Because if you're not about that, you ain't gonna make no money.
No. No, it's like humanizing yourself
Mm-hmm.
and the people around you. You gotta be down to earth. In
Yeah.
order for this business to work, you gotta be down to earth.
Mm-hmm.
Have to be. At least be
Mm-hmm.
able to relate on some level,
Mm-hmm.
understand an inkling of what people want, understanding that,
Mm-hmm.
understanding how you can serve somebody else and get paid off of that.
Mm-hmm.
Bottom line, if you are all about the money, period, good luck in your business making it, sustaining itself for generations. Good luck with that.
Mm-hmm.
Because after a while, people will just get tired of that
Mm-hmm.
because there's no human contact, there's no conversation, there's no networking, there's just plain, uh, almost like robotic
Mm-hmm.
factory. It might as well go to a vending machine, put your information in, get what you want, and leave.
Mm-hmm.
If that's the case, if that's what you like, if that's the formula that you're safe with, then I guess. But I don't see it being lucrative in the long run.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Mars has just entered. Gonna bring him in.
Mars has entered the
Mars.
building.
Up, gentlemen.
What's going on, Mars? What's going on? Man, we just got it started.
Another
Me
day
and
in paradise.
exactly. Me and JoeyG were just speaking about our why and why we entered the entrepreneur realm with our podcasts and other ventures that we also do on the side. And I don't know if JoeyG was finished. If not, I'm gonna let Mars. If you are JoeyG, I'm gonna let Mars explain his why.
Well, I'm just gonna summarize it so Mars can know where I left off. Basically, it's basically humanizing your brand and people. That's where I was at with it in the conversation. I was done speaking as far as where I was in conversation. So I'll pass the ball to you and let you give your point of view.
Yeah. I mean, I think ultimately it always comes down to freedom. You know what I mean?
Right.
For me, I lived a life where I, on paper, did everything right. You know what I mean? No drugs, no alcohol.
Right.
Did the college thing, did the corporate thing, did well at the corporate thing, succeeded at every level, achieved. But it was just horrifying inside. Just it wasn't what I felt I was put on this earth to do. It's all about purpose. And sometimes it's about opportunity and preparation and all of that. And sometimes it's just about dumb luck. I was just really sick of the corporate world and had accumulated some things in, my 401k. And I said, you know what, I'm going to gamble on myself and just bet on myself. And I literally self-taught myself about getting an LLC and self-taught myself about podcasting. And I actually went to college for mass communications. Then we didn't have the technology that we have now. If you didn't live in a top 40 market, if you weren't in California or New York, it's really hard to get on in the entertainment industry. And not only that, a lot of times you had to make sacrifices, which is something I wasn't willing to do. I knew I wasn't hurting, so I didn't have to sell my soul. If a deal wasn't right or something, I didn't have to sell my soul because I've always lived below my means and I spent for what I needed. I always did the right thing. So it gave me an opportunity to have that freedom. And so I just started doing, if you do something you love, you're going to work harder because it's not really work. It's kind of like how Kobe used to say, y'all consider this practice. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else in the world but here.
Right.
So it's a different. Those are the people that succeed, and then eventually I started partnering up and growing, my little empire, and here we are. Merch is selling well, streams are doing well, podcasts, the audio is doing well, but we're just growing, and right now it's all about connections and giving back. Because like I said, I lived a whole nother life before this podcast thing, and now I consider this my second life. So now it's just about giving back to people that are younger than me, that if they had a platform or if they had someone to say, hey, watch these pitfalls, hey, do this,
right,
so the next generation can have an opportunity to whatever I'm doing at 40, they can do it at 20. That's what it's about right now.
Facts.
Just have them leave room for us so we could still have more to talk about.
Wise sage heads that have experienced. We're the generation I always tell, some of my friends or den mates, as we call them, that are significantly younger than me. I'm like, I'm from a generation where I still took a pencil to wind my cassette back. But I'm also in the stream. I remember Napster, and I remember the streaming, and now I'm streaming music on my phone. So I've seen
LimeWire,
computer, Ebola,
something bear, share bear, or something like bear share.
Yeah, LimeWire, all of it. Just the computer. I don't know what happened to the hard drive bomb. I don't know. 10 hours.
Wasn't me. 24 hours just to download Grand Theft Auto 1. How small that game is now, looking back.
Listen, listen. I was downloading from Audio Galaxy using dial-up.
Right.
So imagine 12 hours for one song.
Bro, I just told you 24 hours dial-up. Grand Theft Auto.
I've been there. I have been there. So it's amazing when people complain about their phones or, man, this phone ain't shit. I'm like, you are getting a whole universe on your phone in 5 seconds instead of 3 seconds, and you're complaining. I'm like, dude, I had to go to Blockbuster.
Bro, you have every system that we had growing up that you could put on your phone right now and play all of them at one time.
Easy.
With all the games.
Every single game. Those 8-bit games, I'm like, yo, I had a Nintendo with one controller. I couldn't even play with my friends. I had a Nintendo and you had to blow. I had asthma growing up. I'm blowing on these damn discs about to have an asthma. I don't hear none of y'all complaining.
Oh, man. Shoot, those were the days. Though. It was the good old days, though, I must say. Another question I do have for you guys. I'm gonna jump around though, because we were all witness to a particular episode that didn't make it.
Okay.
We're gonna talk about the Beer Convo and Family episode that did not make it because of personal situations.
It was a branding issue. I considered it was a branding issue.
It was a branding issue because it not only affected you, it affected me because this particular person was also on my podcast as a co-host. And, truth be told, thank God we didn't put it out for the people to see the podcast because it would have affected Marz as well because he's a podcaster.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So,
in the interest of fairness, like Vince would say, in the interest of fairness, I wasn't going to air it.
Okay.
I reviewed it. I looked at every party that was involved in it, and I was fair across the board. Pulling it was the best decision I ever made, and I have no regrets about doing so. Okay. The reason was because I had to protect everybody else's brand first. Y'all came as guests on the show. I had to protect everybody's brand. Everybody in the show was in some form of business, and all represented different brands of themselves and each other. So that was first and foremost. The second decision I made is because I understood the fality, if you will, the people's willingness to fall every once in a while, and I understood that everybody goes through something at different times, and we can't be professional all the times. And there's a time where that's not for everybody to see. This is not the Twitter space, and this is not Facebook, MySpace, anything like that. This is something that I'm presenting to other people's as an example of what I think ideas should be, or just giving you different perspectives as far as what to look at when thinking about things. Kind of like scientific thinking or being an analyst or something like that. You get all points of views, you listen to all sides, you make your discernment from listening to the information. That's where I was going with it. To be one-sided in conversation and feel that mine is the tell all be all, I don't think that was the appropriate message to bring across.
Mhm.
This is without getting to specifics on who said what and what was said or anything like that. This is generalizing the whole conversation and boiling it down to my perspective and not putting the podcast out. That's why it was done so in that manner. I felt it was fair across the board. I talked to everybody on the other side of the board to find out. I didn't have your information, Marz. I'm sorry, but I'm pretty sure you felt as everybody else.
I got it. Got the message got to me, so I was cool. I think
Right.
Dom got through with me, and I was like, no problem, dog. It's all good.
No, but I in the interest of fairness, I had to make sure that it was taken care in that fashion. End result, yes, I was protecting my brand. Also, that's a side effect of making sure everybody else is taken care of, because once I do that, then I know there's a possibility I could bring everybody back and there will not be no animosity, there will not be no reserve. I don't know if I want to do that. They'll be willing to do it because they understand that I'm trying to do something professional. And that's everything that we're talking about branding. That was a perfect example of why you do what you do, or why I'm trying to keep certain things out, why I don't put materials out constantly yet, because I understand there's a formula to this, and I'm making sure that I'm checking boxes and making sure that I'm putting everything forward. My first podcast was officially as an audio, but that's because I was comfortable with it. What do the people want to know about this podcast? Did you tell them about the podcast? What do you bring into the table that another podcast can't bring to the table? What's your new unique perspective that people are going to tune into you? What are you willing to put on the table so other people can see and associate with? Is it relatable? You know what I'm saying? I put all these things in perspective. This is being a part of the show, watching a whole bunch of a whole bunch of podcasts, some really favorites and some just for entertainment, to be honest with you. And I'll give you two examples. Mike Tyson's
I love it.
Love Mike.
hot boxing with Mike Tyson and
Love it. All iterations. Love it.
and Drink Champs are my two favorite up there. Not saying they're my my top 10, but they're up there as far as what I liked watching. And there's a couple others. I'm not gonna mention their names because I'm just starting to watch them. But we get people tune in because they like the people. They like the information being presented. They can relate to it because the topic is something they're interested in or want to know something about. These are all the reasons why you want a brand. You want a brand so you can hit those nails and get a good foundation. Once you get a good foundation, you have something to build on top of. This is where the networking comes in. This is where you meet other people. This is where you co-host. This is where you guest host on a show and things of that nature. This is all a part of it. Is it selfish to want to be on somebody else's podcast to promote yourself at the same time be present in somebody else's podcast? Not really.
Not at all. That's what it's all about. It's all about community for me.
Right.
And with me, it's finding your foothold, like you said. There's 2 million podcasts out there, maybe more. There's a new one. But it's not too many that go past those first 30 days because they realize this shit is hard.
Right.
It is.
Schedule, booking guests. The money takes a while to come in. And even then, It's not gonna, they're not just handing out those Joe Rogan deals to everybody. They're not just, we're seeing established my inspiration for getting into podcasts. There was 2 shows that I started watching. Jesus and Mero, Bodega Boys podcast. They were and I was watching them when they were Desus versus Mero, and I loved that raw Bronx energy. And it reminded me of my big sis who's from the Bronx. Just take no shit and the social commentary, and they were super raw and they were super street, but they were super intelligent, and it was everything that wasn't me. But I loved what the show represented, and I saw these guys blow up to where they're interviewing Obama, and now they broke up. Yeah, they recently broke up, and it became about apparently the money and power. So it's always those same things that you see happen over and over again. Another influence for me was the Joe Rogan podcast. He was just someone that would interview people that he was just curious about. He didn't give a shit if he knew about it. He was just like, oh, I like UFOs. Let me talk to a UFO guy. Oh, I like,
this, as simple as that sound, that's pretty much it.
and that was the formation of where I was like, I love music, but I also just love kicking shit with people. And you find out that ultimately what people are buying is you. You're the brand.
They're investing in you.
They're investing in you, because the more that you can be authentic to yourself, the more that you will find that core, that you will find that community. And that's when people want to be a den mate. People want to be on the show. People want to be involved and linked into your community. So being your true authentic self, and every day I'm evolving, because I tell people who I was yesterday is not who I am today.
Right.
So every day I'm evolving. My views change every single day. But ultimately it was about, building the community, and the business side will come. And that's eventually what happened. So for me, it's just building out community and just being your true, authentic self. This is a safe space where you can talk about whatever you want, unfiltered, unfretted. And the beauty about it, if you don't like it, just turn the shit off. Like I said, there's 2 million other podcasts tuned to another one. But once you get your core and once you get your audience, you're good to go. And now it's just respecting that audience and being consistent with it.
Right. See, I'm gonna tell you, I kind of enjoy being a guest of someone else's podcast, because being the host is a lot of stress. You know what I'm saying? I can just come in there, just sit back and relax and just put my 2 cents in and go about my business. But when you're the host, you're the engineer, you're the producer, you're the writer, you're everything. You gotta sit. You gotta make sure if your guests don't show up and you post that your show was at 8:30, the show still got to go on. And that just, the show got to go on. Otherwise, you lose your credibility.
Right.
So I'm blessed to have TruPlayaz podcast. I'm blessed to be on Be a Common Fan. I'm blessed on being Down in the Den podcast. Other podcasts I've been on as well. Brian, Confession with our fan, Brian Bethia, our classmate since junior high school. I've been on this podcast talking about relationships and stuff like that. So it's a beautiful thing to collaborate with podcasters. I'm looking to collaborate more.
Now, isn't he now a radio personality?
He's a radio. He got his own radio app.
He's a radio personality now.
Radio app in Orlando, in Orlando, Florida. So I know he's gonna be watching the episode, but I'm gonna let him know, Brian, I'm gonna be in Orlando in January, so we're gonna have to link up.
We're long overdue. We're long overdue to be on set together. I was invited when I was in Jacksonville to be a part of his poetry. That's when I was still doing poetry. That would have been awesome. But due to life, I wasn't able to do it at the time. But not to say that I haven't been watching him grow since then till now. Crazy jump. And I'm pretty sure it's because of the doing the poetry and networking with people and just building that brand that he has. Like he has an awesome brand of himself, and the way he was able to network to get into the position that he is. Definitely want to sit down and talk to him And plus, I heard about his rules on the show, so I really want to get with him so I learn more about those. Because
Oh no,
I want to incorporate those rules on the show because I feel like that should be a mandatory that everybody should put down, and the respect that he wants on the forefront of everything. Yeah, I would love to sit down and talk to him about that and try to incorporate that not only in the TruPlayaz podcast but my own podcast and wherever I represent.
true. No, he's very strict before we go live or when he starts the recording. He lets it know how's it going to be, and definitely that's some a lesson I took from him while being on this podcast. I'm like, I gotta implement that on the show. But with you guys, having you guys as hosts, that's not a problem. We already understand that. We already understand the rules. But new people who come in there and with the hubris and the arrogance and the ego, sometimes that needs to be definitely spoken prior, and to protect our brand. Because I don't just have the TruPlayaz podcast brand. I got my all basis consulting financial education firm as a brand also. Because when those people look me up, they're gonna look up TruPlayaz podcast as well. They're gonna find it. They're gonna find my Facebook page. They're gonna find my other Facebook pages also, just to see just to understand who I am.
Right.
So so you got to protect that. Even though I may curse, say shit and nigga and all that stuff. That's just me being me on a podcast. That's not me in a professional environment.
You can always separate this. Hey, this is entertainment. My guess what, guys? My real name isn't Marz. Shock.
No way.
My mom did not name me off a planet wrong. She did not put V in there. But,
so you're telling me you don't have a Bob-and-Diggler space modulator?
I do, but it has nothing to do with my career path. But it's just ultimately, people understand that when you're on a show, it's entertainment. It's you. It's your true, authentic self turned up to 11. We all know that if in certain social norms, you don't say the things that you say. You don't do it because either one, you'll get kicked out or piece kicked on, which I don't want either. I tell everybody, hey, my fighting days are over.
Right.
So, these hands are manicures only. I ain't fighting nobody.
It's like watching those fight scenes in movies where the guy's doing all these karate moves and the dude just looks at him, just pulls out a pistol, shoots him, walks away. Like, that's exactly where I'm at in my life right now. Yeah. Like, I don't got time for that. Like, what is
Indiana Jones? That the guy's doing all the ninja, so he's like, wow. Like, clearly, if we're doing ninja swords, you got this. But luckily, I got this friend called 4 or 5.
Right.
So let me ask you a question, Marz. So you're doing the apparel, you're doing 2 different podcasts where one podcast you're interviewing rappers, upcoming rappers. How are you able to juggle all of that with the time that you have and the planning that goes into it?
It's a lot of planning. My day is booked from 5 a.m. every morning until 11 p.m. every night. And I have to, because I'm a bit of a stoner and I forget stuff. So I have to literally plan. I get up at 5 a.m. in the morning. I fast, I exercise, I sit in my massage chair, relax, walk the dog, get myself centered, work on my main hustle. And then I start booking. Because like I said, I have some help, but we have Down in the Den, that's the mothership. We have Down in the Den After Dark. We have the Unnamed Comic Book Podcast, which is just launched we're on episode 6 there. And I executive produce Pot with Petty, which is a podcast for the stoners, for my people out in California. So I'm doing those. And then we do Politics as Usual special. We usually do those quarterly where we kind of get really into the politics. And then we're filming, we're doing shorts, we're doing marketing now. We're out doing shows and getting the den mates together, putting these concerts. And so we're offering expanding more services, but you still only have the 24 hours. So, I get up in the morning, I get myself centered, I do my main hustle. I start writing scripts, I start booking, I start seeing who can I get here. And that's one of the reasons I haven't ventured into live, because it gives me the flexibility. I love the live format. I would love to do it. But for me, I'd rather have 7 interviews in a can, which I can air when I want to or piece out or ever want to. And it helps me keep my schedule for when people cancel on an interview or don't show up at all, which happens all the time. You guys know. I'm gonna be there. And then you just sit there like, oh, and then it's, oh man, my bad. I died for a little bit. Can we reschedule this? And you're like, what? Did you say you died for a little bit? Like, yeah, I died in a car accident, but I'm back next week. And it's cool. If someone misses, I never flake on them. Because I understand life gets in the way, but that's what works for me. And then I make sure to give myself mental health breaks. It's nothing for me to say, we're going to be on hiatus for 2 weeks, watch your old episodes, and I'll have some other stuff loaded up to keep them entertained so they can still have that content or secret episodes or clips or things like that. Or I'll release something that was on, behind the paywall. I'll release something. But that's the key. It's just taking mental health. And I say it every episode, you can't pour from an empty cup. And that's what I want, especially for Black men of color, to recognize that as a man of any color, you have an inordinate amount of pressure. And I think that's something that we should be able to comfortably talk about. If you're a man, if you're a cisgender man, you're expected to be the breadwinner. You're expected to be the king of the household. You're expected to be the emotional support for everyone. And that's a lot of shit to expect any human people. And and then like Chris Rock said, we're only loved for what we can provide. We're not loved, especially a man of color. We already look like, to everybody, we're the victim, or they think we're deadbeats or something like that. So we come in the game 2 strikes with the same pressures, if not more, than everyone. It's a lot. It's dangerous being a man of color in the United States in 2022, but it's fun as fuck. But I love doing it. But it takes a lot of balance and meditation and giving time for myself and saying no. A lot of people I know that stress themselves out, they don't know how to say no. No is my favorite word. Sometimes my partner will say, hey, do you want to know? Before she even finished, I'm like, this is my time to sit down, meditate. Your time is carved out. I don't infringe on your time. Don't infringe on my time. And that doesn't rub everybody the right way sometimes, telling you no, but at the end of the day, I can only give what I have to give, and I can't pour from an empty cup.
Gotcha.
That was well said. I'm going to take notes on that. We did discuss something of that similar fashion. Me and my wife, we did discuss something in that fashion, where it's like, you have your work things, I have my work things, and when it comes to the weekend, there's certain times where I want to unwind altogether, where I want to take time for the podcast. I want to take time to sit there and play video games, but I also have to incorporate time for her, time for family time with my son, and yes, the time for work and making money. So in that, we do have to make a schedule for all these things to be fluent, and for them to work together. But we recognize the mental health thing. We need time for ourselves to recharge. If we're empty, we can't deal with another person on that level of patience. That patience that we once had may be dwindling. And it takes something so small to set you off, to cause an argument that could have been avoided if we had the proper rest, relaxation, just to get rid of whatever the world had on our shoulders the week or the day of, or whatever the case may be. But those times are important, and that's an example that everybody could use or utilize in their personal lives to make their lives a little bit better.
True. So definitely, me and Marz, I don't know, that me and the brother Joey G, we plan to do like a Madden tournament on the podcast, to create an episode, create a whole genre of podcast based on that Madden tournaments. We just got to think about, put our heads together and make it happen. Because that was originally his idea. It's something that he planned in Jacksonville. He was living in Jacksonville.
Right.
And I was like, yo, I had to remind him, like, listen, remember that plan you had back in the day?
Mm-hmm.
Yo, let's make that happen.
Listen, I had a plan. I had a plan for YouTube before YouTube was popular.
Mm-hmm.
Before it was,
life, man. Story of my life.
Before it was mainstream, I had that idea as far as everything that's coming out, the podcast, everybody putting their information out there, people marketing themselves as far as music, all of that. I seen every single piece of that. I was like, one platform where you could do all of this stuff. I just need a good name and backers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Joe, we're behind you. Yeah, Joe, we're behind you. It just dwindled away.
But I must say, guys, that guy that be playing, one of the guys I'll be watching on Facebook that doing that Madden game on Xbox, he be cursing. I'd be cracking me up. I'm like, yo, dude.
There's a gamer lifestyle that is hilarious to me.
Mm-hmm.
Me personally, I don't like being involved in the games, playing with these people. But to hear the commentary watching it is hilarious to me. It's hilarious. Like if I'm playing the game and trying to concentrate, I can't listen to you and play the game seriously. I can't do it. I'm not that good. Like I'm not that concentrated where I'm like, okay, I'm in the game. Fuck what he's talking about. I'm gonna do what I gotta do. I'm not there. I'm like, I'm either one, I'm a spectator or I'm a player. I can't do both. I can't do both, but to hear the commentary on the games, they're hilarious. You think that's something? Listen to the people in Call of Duty, from the kids all the way up to the adults, because the kids will curse out the adults and the adults will curse out the kids. And you're like, dude, that kid's 10 years old. I don't give a fuck. You should be in bed right now. Like what is going on right now?
Oh man, but it's crazy. It's entrepreneurship is a tough business. It could be a very lonely road to go on, because the supporters people who you expect to support you are not your supporters.
No,
They're your biggest haters. They could come from the same mother and father, and they'll hate you because you're doing something out of the box.
I can expand on this. I've been hated on for a long time. And I've always been outside of the box, to the point of I was a rebel against the regular structure of system. Joe, you have to go to school. Yeah, but I could work. You know what I'm saying? I could do it on my own over here, and I don't have to do exactly what everybody else says. If I build up, I can do this and I can do that. I say that to say this. If you have a vision for something and you're trying to create something that's lucrative, you're trying to create something that's going to generate money, you're going through all the right processes, and somebody else is watching you do all these things, and you're being successful in your steps as far as meeting your goals, whatever they may be, on a timely fashion, and you're moving progressively up successfully. Somebody on the outside that is doing the regular 9 to 5 watching this is secretly hating, because they have to get up and they have to do this. They have to do everything in the manner that which they're doing, because if they don't, they'll fall short, and they don't know how to do what you're doing. They don't know what it takes to put their feelings aside and get through these processes. Some people don't handle stress like that. Me and my wife have an argument all the time when it comes to regular job versus the entrepreneurial mind. And I think the disconnect is stability is always at the forefront, should be at the forefront. Yes, I understand being an entrepreneur, but you still need a foundation to work off of, like a springboard. You can have a regular, whatever, even if it's a half a day, just like a part-time job, just to make this dream that you're having float while still contributing to the household. That makes sense. But just to jump out in the deep end and expect everybody to back you, I don't know if we could do that, because the pressure's on one person right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's in a relationship, whether it be a marriage or just a regular relationship. The other person's looking at you crazy, like, what the hell?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're just in a household and other people are watching you, they're watching you like they're getting mad because they're doing what they're doing and they're not enjoying it. You're enjoying what you're doing. You're making your own schedule. You're taking time off. You're saving for vacations. You're going for vacations. And they're like, how? I work
Mm-hmm.
all this and I don't have money. Because you're not taking that time out for yourself. If you're taking time out for yourself or saving on the side, you can be able to do the same exact thing. But people don't like using other people's information. They like being the frontier explorationists or explorers. They like to be the ones on the front line to be like, I planted the flag first.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the other part of it.
This, it's ego that gets in the way, more ego and hubris. And Kevin Hart said it. Kevin Hart, I watched a podcast with Kevin Hart, and I believe he was on the podcast called The Pivot with Ryan Clark, Channing Crowder, and Fred Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Hart said it beautifully. We could all be at the top.
Yes.
There's no space for everybody on the top.
It's unlimited pie out
Mm-hmm.
there.
Right.
Everybody thinks it's the last slice of sweet potato pie at Thanksgiving. There's unlimited pie.
Right.
Unlimited pie out there, and we can all eat together equally if we so choose. If we stop being enemies to, like you said, it's ego. Everybody wants to be first. I just want to be best.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if I'm first.
Right.
I just want to do it the best. And guess what? You're automatically going to be the best you if you're you, because it's only you. So you're automatically the best. It's just growing 1% every day. You get a 1% better at the end of the year. You're 365% better than you were the year before.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But people don't look at it in that fashion because they want the whole number. They want the whole number. They don't want the half number. You don't want to take the percentage. You want the whole thing at one time. You want the 100%. It don't work like that. Not all the time. You can't jump. You can't jump from a 0 platform all the way to 100. You can't do it. There's some people that get lucky because they're at the right place at the right time. They know the right person at the right time, and that does happen. But those situations are rare and far between. There are other people that generation wise, they can do that because they have the connections. Their parents had the connections. They know the right people to talk to. There's that. But there's other people that do get lucky. From this point, they jump all the way to 100 is because they talk to the right person in the right situation. And they were like, fuck it, let's do it.
And plus, they had the esteem to sit at every table. Another thing, too, people with big egos, most of the time, have low self-esteem
to mask it. Yes.
To mask it. I'm of the believer, me myself, is I can sit at any table I want to. Because the reason why I can sit at any table I want to, because I can create my own table too. Yeah. And I believe that. But I sit at other tables to learn and educate myself and sit by somebody who's doing the same thing I'm doing, but a little bit longer, who's making that money go long.
Right. And it makes sense to do that. I want to do a podcast, so I put everything together. I put the logo together. I got the music together. Got the people on the show. Now I think that I'm gonna be better than everybody else because I got it down to that point, and that point solidifies the fact that I know everything about podcasts. No, sir, you haven't done the work. You haven't done the work. You haven't done the research.
I call people out all the time. I call fams out too. I see my fams on other people's podcasts, but the minute I call them to be on my podcast, we'll see. But I'll be the first one to jump on their podcast. If they ask me to jump on their podcast, I'll be the first one there because you know why? I'm comfortable in my skin.
Yeah. I tell people if you are nice enough to extend the invite to me, unless if it's something I can do, I'm gonna do it. I don't care what level you are, because that might be the episode that somebody sees you on their platform that would never seen your platform, and now they're a lifelong fan of you.
Or just get interested enough just to want to see you again. Let me see what he's going to say again.
See you again. Every opportunity is an opportunity that you don't know whose eyes. So especially when I've seen people that, you know, especially with me, I'm mostly handle artists, and I'm not going to call any artists out there specifically by name. But I have interviewed.
I understand your pain.
Yeah, I have interviewed some artists that are streaming millions and are literally the future of this industry, that if you go back on some episodes, you'll see in a year from now, you're like, damn, Marz was ahead of the curve, this guy, and built relationships with these artists that I know are going to blow. And then I've had other artists that I'm going on and I'm looking, and I know how much a million streams gets you $7,500. That's not a lot of artists streaming a million of their songs. So when I'm seeing people who are in streams in the mid 300s and they're sending me their writer to be on the show, and I'm like, bro, like, humble yourself. As my man said, know your value. You should always know your value, but also humble yourself, because I'm looking at your streams and I'm looking at my streams, and this is an opportunity for you. Not to be. There's a rapper, like I said, I ain't gonna say him, but they were popular in the 99 and the 2000. That's all I'm gonna say. And he wanted 5 bands to be on the show, and I said, "Oh, we don't pay for interviews. That's my, that's my journalistic integrity for my."
I don't know where I've heard that before. It sounds familiar.
Yeah. I said 5 bands to do what? Are you going to executive produce my show? Or are you going to, write? What am I giving you 5 for a 20-minute interview with this person that no one is interviewing?
Listen, if for that price, you're going to have to work out something else, because I want to be happy ending.
I
want a happy ending. Fuck that.
It's going to be 5 bands. I have to come back. This is not a one-time.
What was I going to say? Speaking of that, being at the right place at the right time and having people in your presence and not knowing where they would be years from now. Kodak Black walked into the studio that I was in Jacksonville. Kid at the time, I mean, like any other kid you look at as an older child in our generation that we grow up, oh, this knucklehead. Kodak Black walked in. I've also seen Little Duval in front of my eyes. Shook hands, everything. How you doing? Interested in the business. But where we were at the time, the business didn't take off in the professional manner and keep the connections that they had or keep in touch. So everything faded. I wouldn't say faded, but they went their separate ways. On to success, this one just dwindled away. Why? Because people will be people, and they missed the opportunity. It fell flat. The other people succeeded. We talk about this now. Like, I just had a conversation not too long ago where we were talking on the phone. Yo, we had a big thing. Yeah, it was a big thing at the time. And I had the vision at the time to see it. But nobody was on board at the time. People's maturity is at different levels. Some people's awareness is not what other people's awareness is at the time. Another takeaway from the show that we were just talking about. Understand the situation for what it is. They're not thinking in the manner that you're thinking. You can't impose that thinking on that other person. How I feel about the situation is totally different from what they're thinking in the situation. So let me understand where they're coming from. That was my position. Especially being the host, the position is, what were they thinking? Why were they thinking like that? How would I feel if I was in their shoes? What would force me to feel this way? Okay. and getting all the facts and if okay, I kind of see where everything is going. Shut it down. Shut it down. Shut it down. But understand where you failed in that. Me personally, where you failed in that, and we can move on forward and look for those key things so we can stop it before anything like that happens again. Or before the podcast, using Brian Bethia as an example in that, have rules how you want things to be dictated in the situation. So moving forward, these things don't happen again.
Let me interject to you. Let me interject to you, bro. We're gonna go back to that situation. And you saw how my reaction on that podcast, me being a podcast host, you're doing you're being the host. I was doing my best to protect you, because when you try to set the rules during the recording, well, the other person was not respecting that. And I felt, as a fellow podcast host and your best friend, your brother, I had to step up and be like, you listen, when the hosts tell you to stop, you must stop.
Right. Because in I'm not going to say in the defense of the person, but in the understanding of the person, that's Joe. That's the regular Joe that everybody knows. This is not the brand. They're not talking to the brand right now. Joe understands where I'm coming from, because Joe.
But
that's see, this is where we're talking about brand, correct?
We're talking about brands.
We're talking about brand. They mistake the brand name for the person, and the person for the brand name. They intertwine them together. They're not the same people. And in telling the person after the fact, like, yo, that's for the show. Trust me when I tell you it's for the show. I do it purposely for the show. The attitude, the vibrato, everything that I put on the table is for the show. Outside of the show, I will address your feelings as a person on a personal level, because I know you personally. I'm going to find out how you were affected by the show and apologize for making you feel in a certain manner. As a person, as a friend, as somebody who we grew up with. Yes, I'm going to approach you in that manner. If you can't respect that, that's not on me. Don't put it on me. If you're not willing to receive that, then I don't know what to tell you, because there's two parts of me right now that you were influenced by, or you were subjected to. Better word? Probably. You were subjected to the other part of me that was the podcast personality. They're synonymous with one another. Understand that one is for the entertainment purpose, and the one outside of that is a personal confidant. But you have to know the difference, or understand that after the show, you can still approach me and we could still talk about these things. It's not the final thing. Oh, I don't like the way they made me feel. I didn't like the way they thought of me. They thought of you that way. Okay. So we're being selfish in this situation. We're being selfish in this situation. That's what you're telling me. They thought about you in that situation. They didn't look at me. Me being the host of the show, they didn't look at me at all. Okay. Fair. I guess. In your eyes, that would be fair, I guess. But to rewind, we're talking about branding and everything like that. It's a way to keep me grounded. To know that my personal life and my brand is totally different things. This is where people get caught up and get lost in this whole fucking matrix of entertainment. They do. They get lost in the fucking entertainment matrix. Like this is the all. No, it's not. Understand that you're two different entities, yes, solidified as one person. But turn it on and off. Turn it on and off. You're still approachable. You're still a regular person. You're not invincible. You're not Superman. Stop it. You're not. I feel like being strong in this world, like putting on that armor, we tend to put up armor to protect ourselves from things that may stress us, people that may hurt us, and things of this nature, and forget you're not the only one that goes through it. You have allies out here. We've been through it too. Maybe not the same circumstances, but we don't like bullies either. We don't like being in relationships that are not healthy. We don't like that. We don't like being in jobs that make it seem like this is the end. Like, this is it. This is all I got in my life. We don't like being in those situations. But you have to recognize these things. You have to, you as a person, you have to recognize it. But you have to take inventory. You were saying it earlier. Inventory. You take inventory of yourself. If you're not taking inventory of yourself, how are you going to expect to progress? What did I do wrong in this situation? Do you ever ask that question of yourself? You can have an argument and you may be valid in your point, whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, did you, in that argument, after the argument, did you say, but what did I do wrong in that situation? What could I have done better? Did you ask yourself those questions? Or am I the only thing that was going through your mind? My situation, I was right because I felt those situations. That sounds more narcissistic than anything else. And this is why I try to push away from. This is the evolution of Joey G. The evolution of Joey G went from I to we. And understanding that me comes last. Me comes last. Comes last. Oh, you want to do a podcast? Okay, I'll be in the back. I'll be putting up. You want me to stream it? I'll stream it for you. I'll help you do that. Behind the scenes, I don't have to be present. So every time you're on camera, I'll be like, yeah, I am. I'm not for that. I was never for that. When I started this whole venture, I didn't want to be in front of the camera. I didn't want to talk to people because that's my natural personality. I'll be at the bar. You want to know where I am? I'll be at the bar. I'll be drinking. Ask anybody that knows me.
I think I brought this out of him, man. He's always the man in the back scene. I always said that JoeyG gonna be my engineer in the podcast, man, because he knows everything about computers and stuff like that and get it together. But this man stepped up. It's like, yo, Dom is doing it, so I'm like, I gotta do it. And
listen, my brother was doing it for about a year. I was like, Joe, you could have been doing the same thing because you showed him certain things to do the podcast. Now he's doing the podcast, and you sitting there saying, why didn't you do the podcast?
And I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I was afraid to go live. man. I didn't want my face to be on the podcast, things like that.
You're putting yourself out there.
But my good friend, who I used to work with in the hospital, the doctor, hopefully she's gonna be in my other podcast on the Woman's Entrepreneur series. She's a mother, an ER doctor, a business owner, fashion mogul, all that in one.
Right.
I hope to have an interview on the podcast. Can't wait to have on the podcast soon, once I get that series started. But think about it for a second. If someone could do all of that and be a mother at the same time, it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of bumps in the road. When you deal with the bumps in the road, what do you take it as? You take it as a bump in the road so you could quit, or you're going to use that as a springboard or a learning experience to elevate yourself.
Right.
This is what entrepreneurship is all about. Yes, you're taking a risk. Yes, I took a risk. Joey G took a risk. Marz took a risk to get away from someone who calls themselves your boss, who they're beneath you in their mental.
Right.
I'll tell you straight out, with me, people are not gonna like me. But I'm gonna tell the truth. If you don't think with logic, if you don't think with common sense, you're already beneath me a long time ago.
Right.
Because those are the rules I live by: logic and common sense.
Right.
If it's not logical, you're gonna piss me off.
Right.
If it's not with common sense, you're gonna piss me off. And you may get asshole down,
Right.
not nice down, because that's from being raised by a father who didn't tolerate stupidity, he didn't tolerate lack of logic, he didn't tolerate lack of common sense. That's the way I was raised.
True.
So I took that as my makeup too, because if a lot of people exercise a form of logic and common sense, life would be so much easier.
Right.
We wouldn't be as a planet even in this situation that we're in. We're just logic and common sense. We talk about
that should be a course. That should be a course in high school.
Planet, I sit here and my mother, God bless her. I love you, Mom. But every time I go to their house, she's got politics. I bought her a couple years ago like this big 88-inch screen because they had the old TV, and I was like, bro, y'all are killing me. Like, 88-inch widescreen, super 4K.
It still works.
Don't know how to turn on. She's like, can you turn this on for me? I'm like, just leave the shit on. But always looking at politics all day long. And I go over there and she's like, you hear what Al Sharpton said? I said, no, I didn't hear. I didn't hear because I don't care, because they're all bullshit on both sides. Both sides. The whole goal is to keep the status quo. They're two sides of the same coin. When you're talking about revolution, call me. But if you're talking about the same shit, I'm not interested. Give it back to they're all the same. They just pander to different sides to keep the status quo. And she consumes that. And I told her, Mom, don't consume that. If you want to know about politics, look at my Politics as Usual special available on YouTube right now.
Perfect. That's perfect segue.
Don't look at CNN. They don't know nothing. They don't know nothing.
No, I agree with you on that. My take. See, I followed conspiracy theories. I followed politics for a minute, and there's certain wormholes you shouldn't just go down. Like, my goal wasn't to be a politician, but watching politics makes you want to go into politics, and politicking makes you understand how conversations happen and how deals are done, to the point where you look at it and you go, aha, I see why this person's dealing with that person dealing with this person. This bill wasn't passed, and this bill was vetoed because one person scratches another person's back. That person scratches that person's back. Okay, we'll put that into perspective. Now, if they're not scratching each other's back, it's like, hey, you remember when you did such and such and blase blah at this time, and you were here at this time? Well, I got the paperwork right here. Can you do me a favor so I can make this paperwork disappear?
Oh, you remember the time when your a-hole was getting blown the F out by another man?
You can't be correct. I always watch Lindsey Graham go.
Listen, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Right. This video says it was in Omaha, Nebraska. What's that got to do with it?
It's close enough.
I tell people,
People love Vegas.
I did Lindsey Graham. He went from I hate Donald Trump to Donald Trump's the best man, because those in the know, those people that know in DC, they call my man Lady Graham out there, So you get that dirt. If you can't be corrupted, then we'll find what you've already been corrupted, and it's a dirty game. I'm like, why do we still have gas when we can they could have passed a bill to make manufacturers make electric cars 20, 30 years ago. Technology.
We're there. We're at the precipice where we know we have electric. We can see it.
As a matter of fact, guys, thanks for bringing that up, because I did do an episode from my trip to the New York Auto Show about electric cars. I gotta put that episode in the rotation.
Please put that in the rotation, and I'll add to that. And we'll talk about politics as far as the electric car is concerned on Marz's show.
Yeah. Let me tell you something.
Politics as Usual special on that. Let's make it happen.
No, but what I was trying to say is we know where that's going as far as that. Let's reel it back in, because we are talking about branding.
Entrepreneurship.
And entrepreneurship. We're talking about branding and entrepreneurship. Let's reel it back.
This is what we do at TruPlayaz podcast. in the midst of an episode, we may create another episode or 2-3 episodes within the podcast
That's
that we
because
got to talk about.
the conversation is so great.
What's that? Just immaculate. You want to chef's
Yeah.
kiss.
Chabella.
So, my question to you, Marz, you said something that was beautiful earlier in the podcast about you gotta love what you do.
You got to.
Yeah.
I've wasted so many years. If I think about it, I'll jump off a cliff because you want to do the right things, and sometimes the people that'll kill your dreams are the people that's closest to you because they don't have the vision to see life any other way. I knew at 17, before I was 17, what I wanted to do. I told my mom I do not want to go to college. I know grandpa put a little bread aside for me in this bond. Yeah, I looked at the paperwork. I know what's up. I want to go ahead and cash this bond. I want to go out to California and I want to try my hand at writing because that was my passion. I wanted to write shows, sitcoms, whatever you may be. That's what I want to do. And my mom said, "You're not that funny. You need to go to college. You need something to back up on." And I'm like, so why am I, if I would have thought of why am I making my reality or my backup plan? Because that's what they tell you. Go to school so you can have something to fall back on. But I'm making my fall back on my primary plan.
Right.
That becomes your primary goal after. It's the biggest screw in the game, and you don't even realize it because that's what they were told. My mom didn't have an opportunity to go to college. She was born in the 50s. So she's seeing her black sons get a college degree. That was her dream. And her dream was accomplished. But in turn, what did it do to her children's dream? And I think that's something that parents, we can't put our dream on our kids because we may in turn kill their dream. Luckily, later in life, I was able to realize that, hey, a dream deferred is not a dream denied. So yes, I may have wasted, or what I deem wasted, 20 years in corporate America, but I learned tools and the timing is right now because I didn't have an ABC studio in 1998 when I was 18 years old, but I got a YouTube studio now. Yeah. I got programming now, and I can do everything myself, and I can distribute myself, and I can be authentic myself, and I can have, most importantly, ownership myself. Those are things that are lessons I wouldn't have learned if I didn't go to school, if I didn't do corporate America. If I would have just stepped out, I probably would have signed my likeness away to something on MTV 25 years ago and have just been ass out right now. But ultimately, when it comes to, if you have a family member that is, or loved one that wants to be an entrepreneur, they want to focus on their brand. And the biggest thing you can support them is if you don't have anything positive to say, don't say anything at all. Don't enforce your limitations on someone because we are all not the same. And if you feel they can't do it, they'll learn. Because guess what? There's 50-year-old men in college all day.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah.
You can fall back on after failing your dream, but don't make your fallback plan your first plan. Make that shit plan B or C or D, or one of my favorite oppositions, choose not to fail. Because you have that option and you can define success. Success may not be getting that $100 million Joe Rogan deal, but success may be able to say, all I do for a living is a podcast, and I'm paying all my bills with a podcast. That's success.
Hell
That's
right on.
Let me get a hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. So you can choose not to fail. And that's one thing, redefine your level of success and then make sure you accomplish that. And it can be done.
I agree with that. I agree with that 100%.
I agree that 100% myself. 100% myself. And what can I say? I'm going to say something too. If people, we're going to go back to the ego thing, especially with family members or friends, I've had family members on my podcast. Let's not get it twisted. Prophecy is my cousin. You know what I'm saying?
Cool peoples. Very talented. Very talented. He's good at networking. I'm trying to give bullet points for people that don't know him like that. I know we're modest. We're modest as far as family members are concerned, but from what I've seen and what I've heard, you're doing your thing. You're involved in programs that contribute to the community. Your mind, as far as creativity, is fucking excellent. It's excellent. Now we just have to find a way for you to flourish with these things.
Yeah. He was supposed to join us tonight, but something came up, so he's not joining us tonight. Of course, he's so talented. He did my original theme song to "We Gonna Make It" beat, to the point that YouTube is done put copyright infringement on that theme song. That's why I had to change it.
Right.
So,
which I really love that theme song because it was the podcast, everything about the podcast, all in one thing. There's just a beat. We couldn't use it.
Yeah, I had to do my own beat when I created Down in the Den theme song. I had a similar idea, and I was like, YouTube is gonna get in my ass on this. So I did my own. I composed my own beat and rapped over it. Everything. Now I have like artists like, hey, we want to do the theme song for Next Reason. I'm like, but everybody loves my classic 4-bar rap. I had to bring out the MC bat for a little bit. I was like, that's all.
Listen, it was a double meaning. If anybody knows the original theme song of the TruPlayaz podcast, it had a double meaning. It was a double meaning. Yes, we were talking about the theme of the podcast, but at the same time, we gon' make it. We gon' make it. We gon' make it. Come on. I was like, they're hating too hard right now.
And the thing is, Marz, that people don't know. Not even YouTube knows this. My cousin Prophecy knows Jadakiss, and Jadakiss gave the okay verbally to use the beat. And
You
it's still got
you
put it in black and white.
You strike me on my own song one time.
Oh my God!
I said, this is my song, written and composed. Look on Soundcloud, it's me. That's my face.
Oh,
I think they did that to me too. Talking about because I had Dom on my show. Because I had Dom on my show and I made reference to TruPlayaz podcast. It was like, no copyright infringement. I say, bitch, we're both on shows together.
I am him. He is I.
Right. The same entity. We're working together.
Facebook will get you too. Facebook.
Right. Facebook is the ultimate snitch.
Oh, yeah.
Check out, guys. I did the reface with Star Lord doing the dance. It's a dance off, bro. Now Facebook's like, we gotta partially mute that song, mute that view. I'm like, it's a reface, god damn it. My face is on the damn thing.
Right. And that's creative. That's creative. Yeah, it was somebody else's, but it was creatively done where you could say it's yours.
It's protected under parody. People understand that parody laws protect you as long as that's Weird Al technically did not have to ask permission. He did out of respect, but he should have for Gangsta's Paradise. I'm just gonna put that out there. Coolio was pretty mad, I think.
Coolio was
mad. Like, people died in the streets.
Right.
People died in the streets. You talking about pastrami or something.
Weird Al was just like, yo, I was just making a joke. My bad.
He wanted to see Big. He wanted to see. I'm like, hey, Stevie Wonder ain't roll up on you for stealing his whole beat.
Listen, he did a thing on Michael Jackson too. Michael didn't come for him, and believe me, Michael would have came for him.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Michael came for M. Michael came for M. You gonna put my name in my song? You're gonna put my name in your song? Okay, I'm just gonna buy your catalog. Nobody's gonna get that.
Michael was ruthless for the business. They said when he got Paul McCartney, Paul was like, I gave you the idea. At least sell it back to me. He was like, no, Paul. You can go sing my song.
Catalog is mine. Yes, it's mine. I
know you, John, wrote those songs, but it was such a waste of time. 'Cause I bought this shit from under you, and now the Beatles songs are mine. The songs are mine.
Mine.
I said, doggone songs are mine.
But
They
people
came out and did Come Together better than the damn Beatles. I was like, you petty, man. You petty, Mike. That's why I love you. Shout out to MJ. Rest in peace.
Listen, they could say as soft spoken as he was, King of Petty.
let me tell you something. Let me tell you something about Michael Jackson and Prince.
Oh, their beef was
Two.
beef. Ooh.
There were, even though Prince wore heels and he was doing that shit on stage, and Michael Jackson was with the high pitched voice, two of them brothers were straight gangsters.
Oh yeah,
they were
in the industry. In the industry, Prince alone, gangster in the industry. Michael, for another reason, all alone. I think he grew into that. Like, oh, I'm tired of this shit. I think Prince evolved during the time and was just like, yo, I want this. This is gonna happen. How can I get it?
I'm writing the beat. I'm using my own studio time. I'm writing the lyrics. All y'all doing is distributing. How do you own the masters of something that I created in my living room? That don't sound right. I don't even like it.
Listen, every instrument in here I own. I play every single one of these motherfuckers. I didn't ask for anybody's help.
Prince will hear you a fully delivered mix and mastered project. All you got to do is take a damn photo and pay for the That's all you got to do.
Nigga, you just have to be present at this time and stand behind me. I got you. Be on time, because I will find you if you're not on time.
and remember, it's mine. And that's the thing is that's the beauty of entrepreneurship, is to be able to own your masters in any craft that you're in.
If we learn anything from Prince, that should be like, if there was something that we're gonna put on his tombstone, make sure you own your masters. That's it. Mm-hmm. If you should be known for anything, it should be that, because everybody that I've heard talk about Prince in their stories, the one question he asked them in meeting them, they all said the same thing: do you own your masters?
He do it in his little pitch voice. Do you own your masters?
Right. Alicia Keys, as hot as she was, or is because she's still up there.
Oh yeah,
as hot as she is as far as the music and entertainment was, he asked her the same question. She was like, no. He's like, I can't mess with you.
Yeah. I'm not paying for another man's child to eat off of your work.
Right.
Those days.
And that's respect. The way he introduced it to her was just straight respect. Yeah. I'm not gonna let somebody else eat off your plate.
Yeah.
Period.
If you get invited to the table, I'm all for strategic partnership.
Right.
And, we offer those services with the DMA. If you got an artist and somebody's got you a deal, send me the record label. Send me the contract. I'll read over it and tell you how you're getting bent over and what to remove. Closed mouth can't get fed. They know that these contracts are modern day slavery. So by you asking for something, 9 times you're going to get it, because if they're really willing to offer you this much, trust me, you're worth that much more.
Right.
So
9 times out of 10, yeah.
In the music industry, record sales, it's such a con. As I mentioned, 1 million streams gets you $7,500. That's if you own 100% of your masters, you get all the points. Yeah. But if you got a label and a manager and another manager under that and an attorney, that's $7,500 has been split so many ways. You end up TLC pulling up to the Grammys in a RAV4. You don't want that for your life.
Right.
So, shout out to the RAV4 though. I actually own a RAV4.
Listen, RAV4 coming hybrid, right? So I'm definitely down.
Listen, don't go chasing waterfalls.
Listen, the two groups that got butt fucked in many ways. One was New Edition.
Yeah.
2 was TLC.
Facts.
And TLC was more our generation as far as how young they were.
Yeah. Which
Just
is
imagine.
strange because they were doing that in Motown and all these other record labels, and we still hear Meek Mill, we still hear 504 Foreign or whatever his name just said something about a deal with Mace. We're still hearing this. How in 2022? How are you people still signing these deals where you're just getting it? It's if you're hot enough to get the community behind you, you don't need it. Look at
Right. I think it's the freedom of that though. That's what artists are talking about. The freedom versus the label.
right.
Being an independent artist versus the label. Going in the industry door. You go in the industry door, or you can go freelance and do whatever you want. But you have to still put in the work. Being independent means you have to put in the work. You have to put in the social media time. You have to put in the social work. You have to put yourself out there for people to recognize you and get those numbers up as far as the fans. So everything that we see on Twitter is as far as the numbers, those numbers people are looking at and be like, yo, he generates this much people. We can make money off of that. How can we make money off of that? What we need to do to get him on the table so we can get that money? That's potential money right there.
Facts.
1 million fans? He got 1 million fans. What is he doing? Why is he doing it? And how can we get him on the table for this deal?
Yeah. And if you're generating that much on your own, do you really need a label? Do you really need, or do you just need a better marketing strategy?
This is how people jump from Instagram models and things like that to the screen, and you're sitting to the big screen and you're like, how? You skipped every process that every actor and every other person went through the proper channels. You skipped the line and went past that. How are you on the screen right now? If I was a model, if I was an actor or actress, I would be fucking pissed. Like, yo, you didn't do everything that I did. How are you on screen right now? But you have the numbers to back you.
Facts. It's the evolution.
It is an evolution. It has to be respected as far as that, because it's a new way of social marketing. It's a new way of marketing, but it also it's encompassed in your brand. It evolves around your brand, what you present to the people that people back and people are behind and they're looking at it because you're down to earth. Your virtual relationships, how often you sit there and communicate with everybody, your reliability, and your videos, your audience, and you're connecting with what they want to see. That's my take on what I've seen, what I've heard other people talk about, and my view as far as what is branding. Encompassed in it, and I'm pretty sure there's more. There's conversations, because you got to build relationships and everything like that, as far as interactions and everything like that. You definitely have to represent yourself constantly, but that's being consistent. We go back to that consistency. You're building your following. You're constantly there. You're giving your audience what they want to hear or what they're looking for when they come see you. Even if it's just yourself, you just being you, because they like you because you're being you. I'll give you an example. Paul, what's his name? Paul, the dude that wanted to fight Mayweather.
Jake Paul.
Jake Paul, one of the Pauls.
Jake Paul,
one of the Pauls.
Right. He's doing exactly what people want him to do. Oh, you want to fight everybody? Oh, we're going to back you on that situation because we want to see where it goes. It doesn't matter that you've never had a professional career in your life, but you talk so much shit. Let's see how much you can back it up. Oh, you want something? Okay, cool. That's great. Let's see if you can continue doing that.
Oh, guys, by the way, sorry to interject, though.
You good?
Which Paul was in SummerSlam? Logan or the other one?
Logan.
Okay.
Jake's the one that actually can box. Logan's the one that just loses all the matches.
My bad. I just thought I'd throw it in there.
No, I seen it earlier. I was gonna say something about it, but I wasn't sure, so I wasn't gonna tie it.
Listen, but you know what? We to continuation from our last show together, guys. I see Triple H is bringing back some wrestlers that were fired.
Yeah,
Imagine
man. We predicted it. It's a new age. I didn't watch Raw tonight. I'll watch the replay.
that.
But you know, I did watch SummerSlam, and we saw some returning faces. The show had just a better energy. The commentary, you can tell when Vince, you know, for all the good things, man was 77. He may have been a little senile. He may have been, because just the energy of the show was just that much better when someone actually loves what they're doing versus just someone whose ego says, I know what's best. And I think that collaborative spirit that Triple H brings a lot of energy. So I predict the golden age for WWE.
Evolution.
No pun intended. Or pun intended.
No pun intended. No pun intended. All right, guys. This has been a great podcast with the both of you. Again, we will do this again. Keep in mind, we still got the What If Game of Thrones episode. I can't wait to have that episode for you guys. I believe House of Dragons come out August 14th or August 13th.
I think it's the 13th, but don't quote me on that.
All right, bet. So what we're gonna do is we talk offline about that. But
stick around. Please stick around, because we got more conversation after the camera stop. Stick around so we can brainstorm for the next one.
So it's a beautiful thing. But is blessed to share the 4th year anniversary with Marz and JoeyG, of course. We hope that we had Prophecy here with us. We hope we had Ajman, my cousin Ajman Yankura. You know, we hope to have live here too, but you know, other situations happen, other commitments happen.
Maybe Instagram. I don't know.
Family. Listen, I don't mind doing an after show Instagram live though. But that was fun doing those after episode lives though. But we're gonna wrap it up.
Okay.
It's been, like I said, blessed to have everybody here. This is 4 years. June 27th, 2018 was the first. All for whim. The first episode is all for whim. I want to thank Fairy Child. You know, I'm not gonna put her government on the podcast. She was the reason why I got this podcast started. Then I met up with my sister's friend from high school, Miss Dillis Victoria. She gave me the first promotion of the TruPlayaz podcast that made me elevate to more of a more mainstream situation, to the point that I was in the front of the table with Sirius Radio. In front of them. Talking about, we want to give you your own channel. Think about that for a second there. Now, granted, I was focused on other things which I should not have been focused on, because my podcast, TruPlayaz podcast, is the love that comes from me to the people, and I bring all my friends with me. I'm a type of dude that bring everybody with me. I don't leave nobody behind. If we can win, we're gonna win together. I don't want to win by myself. It's lonely. Let's win together. Let's make money together, because that's the best way to put out new leaves and stuff, new branches and new trees, by doing that together. We gotta stop with this selfish ego nonsense bullshit. Really
Put your
do.
ego to the side.
There's money to be made in these streets if we come together. That's what the man wants us to do. Is to divide and conquer. You know what I'm saying? That's why 70% of the population, American population, is living paycheck to paycheck. Why you sitting there being at 54% in debt? Is that fair? 4 out of 10 houses don't have a life insurance plan. What are you doing?
Right.
You got them J's though.
Got them J's.
Got them J's though.
It's crazy. It's crazy, fellas. So, final words with Marz.
Yo, man, 4 years. It's been beautiful, man. It's been a pleasure getting to know you the last couple of years and being featured here, and you guys being featured. So thank you. 4 more and 4 more and 4 more after that, and 4 squared and all that. 4 scores, all the math. Thank you again. for having me, guys. If you're interested in my thoughts and what we're doing, check us out. Down in the Den presents The Den. Marz Entertainment is the channel. Check me on Instagram. Shoot me a DM. I'm open, not that type of DM, but you know, if you're interested in a product or the show, hit me up. And Joey, Dom, thank you guys. That's it. Croc Gang, get the Crocs out there. We got the merch for the Crocs coming out soon. And shout out to the folks at Good Company providing the merch. You know, just giving shouts out to other Black businesses. So peace and love.
Peace and love. Joey G, what's up, man? Give the final thoughts of Joey G. Beer Convo family. Mr. Bud over there.
Listen, I'm sipping on this beer and I'm reflecting.
That thing looked real refreshing, man. I was looking at this water depressed. I was like, man. I'm sitting there like,
listen, hey, you're sitting over there pH balanced. You're good right now. It's essential. No, 13 years behind the scenes, bro. I've been 13 years behind the scenes since 2009. It's a pleasure to sit there and watch Dom 4 years in go from talking on a podcast audio to watch them go live for the first time till now. Listening to sports commentary as far as what he sees is in sports for the Knicks, the Nets, the Knicks and the Mets. The Knicks and the Mets.
Knicks, Mets, Jets.
Right.
Plus, we're going to have Kyle back for the football season. You know what I'm saying? So we're doing it big. My bad, Joe.
No, you good. See, you wanted to go right in. But that was the original intent of the TruPlayaz podcast, to talk about sports and segue into regular life stuff. When we're talking about relationships, talking about politics, we're talking about current event life issues. There was a lot of good conversations when we were talking about Trayvon Martin, George Floyd, I hate to say Black Lives Matter movement, but during that time of all the things that were happening during the police brutality stuff and the events that were put out there, we had a lot of common conversations on the matter where we were talking about our points of views as far as being regular citizens, or talking from the point of view of being an officer looking at these situations. How do we sit there and encompass everything that is going on? How do we change those situations? Like, people, I don't know if people understand where the TruPlayaz podcast came from and the direction it was going, but that was a pivotal point, and these were pivotal conversations that needed to be addressed and put out there. This is what made me want to do my own podcast. Not only did I want to event like those situations and talk about the current events and show your frustration and anger, but I wanted to try to get a resolution in some form or fashion, maybe a different point of view. Hey, if you need to relax and fucking drink and talk about it, then let's drink and talk about it. But we need to have these conversations. If you feel more comfortable drinking and talking about it, that's what you do on my show, Beer Convo and Family, because we're still family on the TruPlayaz podcast. We're still family. We're still talking in the same fashion. I'm still drinking. If anybody else wants to drink, that's on them. You know what I'm saying? But it's encompassed to one another. I want you to feel fluent when you come to the TruPlayaz podcast and understand what kind of conversations you're going to have, understand the depth in which we're willing to go. And after 4 years, you can see it getting better. You can see it getting better over time. It changed even from the audios as far as the headphones to the microphones. Everything has changed. Lighting, all of that has changed. They're slowly getting better, especially with the conversations. We're missing co-hosts that we've had on the show before. Yeah. I'm just gonna say Ricky Brown at this current time. Ricky Brown was a very pivotal point in the show. He bring a lot of insight, kind of like what you do, Marz. You bring a lot of insight to the show, a different perspective, and a kind of even keeled perspective across the board. Ricky Brown was present and willing to listen to both sides and give his points of views, not favoring one side or the other. He's very cut down the middle. He'll give you his point of view, but he was willing to give you all sides and be fair in how he delivered. And you bring that to the table now, and we appreciate that. That's why we love having you on the show. We would love to get you all on the show together, because that would be a fucking awesome show.
Yes.
Just to see how, we know how we mesh together, and this is cool. But I would love to see that, because it would make the show even more. Just like we have Just Jay coming to the show, another person that we had on Beer Combo and Family. He gives that other side of the thing where he had the military life.
Mm-hmm.
He's lived the military life. He's lived the civilian life. He's at the point in his life where it's just like, yo, we get into a parent's age. I really have an opinion, and I don't want to hold it back anymore. So these are things that we're looking forward to. We're also looking forward to the entrepreneurial show that you have coming up. We got guests coming on the show. I know my cousin is ready to come on the show to talk about her things as far as the business and everything like that. And I can't wait for you to meet her, because she's another a part of what makes Joey GG. You know what I'm saying? Not just as a Gomez, but in my personal, but just being the person that I am. You understand the fabric that I come from. We don't have to hold punches. We're gonna put everything into everything that we want to do. Even though the odds are stacked against us, we're going to continue to go. We continue to strive, whether it's with support or not with support. We're going to keep moving forward till we fall off, till the wheels fall off. We're going to keep doing it. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm willing to support. That's why, hey, if you tell me I need to be at a podcast, I'm going to be there. If you're on my podcast and we meet and everything is cool the way it's been cool, then I'm there. I'm support. I'm your day one. I'm your day one.
Yes, you
your
have
biggest
been.
fan.
Yes, you are.
I'm your biggest fan, and that's the way it's going to be. This your man, Joey G. We're just going to keep it like that. Brandon, you see what it is. We develop. We nurture.
That's right. That's right. Nurture and rise to the top, because cream always rises to the top, and we are the cream. Once again, I want to thank Marz again for being on the show. Blessed to be. I can't wait to be on another Down in the Den podcast episode with you. Definitely. Joey G, you already know what it is. You already know what it is. I can't wait. You know, next year, I have a dream for next year, for the 5th year anniversary, which will be done in June, not in August, but in June, where it's supposed to be.
I was like, wait, you can change your anniversary? You can do that?
It's our anniversary. No, not yet.
It is strange because on every even year, I've done the anniversary podcast in August, ironically. But on that flip side, I want to make sure that my dream next year is to do it live in studio somewhere in New York. Invite Marz up to New York. Joey G comes up from Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? And have Ricky Brown here from Maryland, down there in Randallstown. Who else? Who else I would love to have on the podcast next year? Of course, Just Jay, my cousin Prophecy, my cousin Ajman and Kura, Blick Fraternity representing. Right. Who else? And many others. I'm probably missing a few other people, but of course the ladies that have been on my podcast as well. Whether it's been Carmine, whether it's been Black Rose, whether it's been Miss Nadia. Right. all the females that been on the podcast, providing insight and content. I would love to have the women there representing, because don't be scared. We don't bite. We kind of handsome, but
Past is past. Past is not past is past, and past is not present. Come on now.
Listen,
we all human.
I think I just put. I think I just shot myself in the foot because my girl gonna beat me up. But anyway, and my
we love you.
My girl is actually going to be hosting a podcast on the TruPlayaz podcast about our trip to Vegas by herself. Because we can't have. See, the problem is when you did Capricorns and Cancers, it's not a good mix. It's always clashing going on. So
Capricorns and Cancers.
Yes.
Which one is she?
Capricorn.
She's Capricorn.
Capricorn. See, Virgos and Capricorns are the ones with no Vaseline.
Listen,
I'm
gonna say this right now, and I hope you're watching, Miss Danielle. I hope you're watching. We're cousins. I want you to know that I was born on the cusp, so that Capricorn trait is in me. So you need to relax.
But definitely, when she has the courage to step up, she has the courage. She wants to do it. It's all about me setting it up.
Set it up. It'd be nice. And I know she has a good point of view to put out there, and she has some things that need to be said. And it would be lovely to hear her point of view and see how she takes her brand and runs with that.
She does have a podcast on her own, but she's very shy about it. And when she talks about RuPaul episodes and all that fun stuff, she does have her own podcast, but she's very shy about it. So, we'll listen. If I could take the L and go to a RuPaul show in Vegas, I took that L. Okay,
listen.
Took that L.
Hey,
unless I meet the person in person, I'm not.
No, it wasn't. RuPaul was not there though. But
I'm just saying, if I'm gonna go, I might as well go for the gusto. We meeting? What is the deal? I'm here. I'm here. It's your show. Where you at? It's like going to BB King's. BB King's not here. Why? Why am I here then? I don't want to. I came for BB King. This is BBQ spot.
Listen, we can make it all. We can make it all happen next year in June, which is around my birthday. Ironically, the anniversary is 2 days before my birthday, so we can have a big grand old party in New York. Shoot the episode in the studio. You know what I'm saying? I'm actually in the process. Me and Georgie are going to be investigating some studios. It's all about the actual the video part of it. How we're going to do with the camera scene. I'm not good at that. Probably Marz, you may know somebody who could do that in the studio aspect with the cameras and stuff. I want my shit like freaking Drink Champs or Math Hoffa or
easy. That's easy.
Something like that.
You got them 4K cameras straight off of Best Buy.
You can have posted and a floating. Come on now. This is not that's not rocket science. We got this.
Got you. So that's my dream for next year.
13 years.
No. Next year, it's gonna be 5 years. So you got 5
I'm
years?
just saying, you got 13 years of experience behind you. I got you.
Okay, thank you. But 5 years is gonna be special.
Yes, it is.
Yes, sir.
Yes, it is.
5 years is on the planet. I'm definitely next year. It's my fault because I contacted Fairy Child a bit too late. I'm gonna be honest. She's probably watching the podcast like, this nigga didn't never contact me to be on the podcast. I sure did contact her, and when I thought about contacting her, it was too late. And she's also an entrepreneur as well. So entrepreneur, she created a baby entrepreneur. Her daughter's also an entrepreneur. Her little twin. So I call her. They both twins. You know what I'm saying? There's mother and daughter, but they both twins.
They're twin.
Yeah. But shout out to Fairy Child. I call her Harlem World, you know what I'm saying? So shout out to her. And by the way, please subscribe to my YouTube channel.
Please.
Let's get the subscribers up for that. Follow and like my Facebook page, facebook.com TruPlayazDom. Follow me on Instagram /TruPlayaz podcast. And please, if you're a Forex or Bitcoin mining motherfucker, don't follow me, please.
Cash only. Cash
They
credit.
even doing that. They even doing that crap on Clubhouse.
Oh, I don't know.
That
I don't know
hustle
about Club.
is immaculate. One of these, I know for every 400 no's, they get that one sucker that's like, yeah, man, random person that DM me. I think I will buy some Bitcoin from you.
Wait, what you mean? I could put my picture
Yo,
on there and it's
let
my
me
own
let me
Bitcoin? Yeah,
yo,
let's get it.
Before I end the podcast, guys, did you know one girl who was a forex trader doesn't send me pictures of her just so I can go invest my money with her on forex?
That's crazy. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I'm sorry. It wasn't nude. It was very
Oh.
provocative pictures. I exaggerate on that one, but very provocative pictures and stuff.
Well, maybe you needed to see her portfolio and diversify.
In the interest of protecting my sexual health and mental health with the female I'm with now, I cannot entertain stuff like that.
No, it was more mental health.
Physical health.
And physical health.
Oh my God, guys, it's a pleasure. We gonna talk. We gonna talk offline when we get an opportunity, whether it's tonight or another time. Talk offline about the plans and stuff like that, and just
Definitely.
throw ideas against each other. But on that note, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, TruPlayaz podcast. We signing out. Peace.
Peace.
Deuces.